Hello again, and welcome to SDGC for Thursday, January 23rd. If you're not aware, SDGC meets right here each and every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we discuss the latest gaming headlines with a wide variety of panel members and guests. We also do a whole bunch of other stuff as time allows, like a separate show about movies and television, pre-recorded content, and a bi-weekly morning show every other Friday. If you've been along for the ride so far, welcome home. And if not, hey, feel free to stick around and maybe throw us a sub. Every single podcast is archived the next day on our YouTube channel for those who like to watch, and you can find all episodes on all major podcast services for those who like to listen. Now, everybody in chat might notice that it's a small podcast tonight.
It's a little tight.
It's a little small, but here's the thing. Derek in glorious 4K HDR right there makes up for really all of it, in my opinion, Derek.
It's good shit. It's good shit.
And it's not about the size of a podcast. It's about it's about the way you talk about video games. That's what matters, right?
Yeah.
Am I off base there? Am I correct in this?
No, I think that makes sense to me. I hate that you can see the flyaways in my bangs right now. My camera's so good.
So let's address that for a minute.
Address what?
Hold on. I actually got a message from somebody. Okay, so I want to address that real quick, Derek, because it really you and I are both really good-looking guys.
Jay did send us $1.
Let's admit it. We are very. Oh, Bad Bit in chat says it's very intimate. That's correct. It is.
I had to. Jay donated $1.
Anyway, I am very upset because we are both very handsome individuals. I think anybody would be willing to admit that, right?
I would say so.
I'm not just saying that to butter you up or make
I think we're all very very lovely people in this group.
We are, but right now, the two guys on this podcast right now on the camera at this very minute are two very good looking guys, right? It pisses me off that you look so much better than I do.
I think beauty's in the eye of the beholder, John.
You're like,
and there are many people who would disagree with you.
On over here on my side, I feel like this is SDGC on the PS3, and then over on your side, it's like the remastered version of SDGC on the PS4 at 4K 60 frames a second. I feel like that's what's happening. Lena
it's a good camera.
Says, dang, only two. Lena, I'm sorry to disappoint you.
So a lot of stuff happened at the very last minute. Jeff and Justin both had things pop up. I think Jeff got really badly overworked and he's real tired. Justin's not feeling great. You can't help that. Finn should be joining us shortly. He's on the way home. He had to work late, but he should be joining us a little late. We are ready for those topics and things. And then of course
there is some shit to talk about.
Yeah, and then of course our guest. Again, stuff happens. So we got two of us, and it's okay. But we got some meaty stuff we want to talk about based on things that have happened over the last couple weeks. Those are dogs. And I didn't want to delay them any further for another week. So it was like, you know what, we got to do this with two people. We'll make it work.
So
we'll make it happen,
thing, right? Oh. Wait, hey, hold on. Before we do that, Derek, I'm going to type. You're going to hear me typing real quick.
Yeah. If it's in the Discord chat, I can't see it.
It's in the. Okay, so
you got to remember.
You know what I'm talking about, Derek. Make the call to. I'm trying to do this without revealing it to the chat. Make the call to A.
I can't make any calls.
Okay, you know what? I'll do it. You know what? I'm going to fucking do it.
If it's a Discord thing, I can't do it.
No, I'm doing it right now.
Okay.
I'm doing it right now.
Hey!
Oh, look. Oh!
Holy shit.
Oh, shit. What the fuck just happened? Oh!
What is going on, Anthony?
Oh, shit.
Holy shit. A wild Anthony approaches.
Our beautiful boy, Anthony John Agnello. What's going on, my man?
Hey, dog. How we doing?
We're doing.
People put out the Anthony John Agnello signal.
Anthony, I went outside and I fired an image of the fuck barrel into the sky. And
suddenly
Anthony,
Ballbeard, the environmentally conscious pirate, appeared.
It's just the Donkey Kong barrel, but with FB on it instead of DK.
FB. fuck, barrel.
There we go. I'm giving everybody tuning in a tour of my office as I actually get light in here. That's how unprepared I was to join the show this evening.
Well, like I said, we lost everybody last minute, so we just tried to we shone a sock into the sky, and we're like, please.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know how they go around the baseball games with those T-shirt cannons?
Right.
They fire T-shirts into the ground. I went outside with one of those and just fired a sock into the sky, and somewhere Anthony was like, "I'm needed. My people need me."
Well, I love the idea of it's like it's not the 10 o'clock magic show at like an off the strip Vegas casino. It's like the 6 o'clock magic show. It's like, I need somebody from the audience. I need somebody, anyone.
Please.
I see you in the back. You're not drunk asleep. Get up here.
Yeah.
Right now, I need to saw someone in half.
Yeah. You're the middle
Anthony, it's just good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, man.
It is. I haven't talked to either of you guys in this setting. Derek, John got like a piping hot plate of me out of the blue this past weekend for
I did.
SDGC community game night. We were playing a little Mario Kart. And
I
got
did.
that. The best part of that was getting to see you parent firsthand, John.
So
That was a first time experience.
So my son,
Yeah,
my son was talking some serious shit.
He was. He brought the heat.
He was talking some serious fucking shit, dude.
Wasn't
like-
messing around. He was
Like
just
to the
laying
point
it down.
where I had to like chastise him lightly after it was over. I was like, "Son, listen, you must respect your father in a social setting. Like, I get that you want to, I get that you want to be cool in front of dad's friends, and that's fine. But now, and you know what? I know that Daan is going to hear this. So for Nintendaan out there, the next day, my son was playing Fortnite, and I heard him say, "I just pulled a pro gamer move."
No.
Thank you, Daan.
Yes.
Thank
Yes!
you. And then I immediately threw my son's Switch in the garbage and banned video games from my home.
That's it. He's allowed to have a 1989 launch Game Boy and nothing else.
Yeah, you can play. I'll tell you what, son. You can play.
You can play
Beyond
Caesar's Palace for the Game Boy original. and
Son,
that's
I
it.
got you a copy. The only video game you could ever play from now on is Beyond the Beyond for PlayStation. That's it. That's the
No.
only one.
Yeah, but then he gets all those high quality CG cutscenes, dog.
By the way, though, Anthony, I downloaded that on my my emulated PS Classic, and it's just as bad as you remember. It was so
every
fucking
single
terrible.
random battle takes 10 years. to fight
It's
through.
so bad. It's so fucking bad, dude. Well, we've got some interesting topics tonight. There's actually a lot to talk about. Derek, we've got game delays. We've got trade shows at E3. There was another topic that I forgot about because I'm an irresponsible host.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we
So
talking about first?
basically, our
Derek?
last month, we've not been able to talk about news because I think we were off for the day after Christmas, and then in the new year we had our predictions episode, and then the week after that was the game of the year discussion, which was last week. So this is like the first time in a solid 4-week period where we've been able to talk about news, and a lot of things have come out, and rather than try to do a rush month recap, I'd rather kind of hit on what I see as some recurring themes. So first among these, we got news that Sony is not going to be at E3 again this year.
Rest in peace, E3. It was a fucking
Yeah.
wild ride.
I don't think rest in peace.
E3 died like 5 years ago.
Yeah. So that's the thing is,
E3
we're all talking
like-
about what do these big trade shows even mean anymore, and is E3, I think the question everyone asks is E3 kind of decentralizing as the main gaming announcement and trade hub? And I think you were kind of hitting at that, Anthony. It's been happening really for years.
Guys, here's the moment that E3 died, and I hate to be such a poo-pooer because I know that there are people who still love E3 very deeply. E3 died in 2013. The moment that Reggie said Nintendo is opting to not have a traditional press conference at E3, and we're going to start putting more of our money into Nintendo Direct presentations, that was it.
And it was a
2012
smart fucking move, Anthony, because look at how much hype and expectations there are. Like every time somebody somebody sniffs or like smells that there might be a Nintendo Direct coming soon, they're like
100%.
Dude, like fucking the forums explode, Twitter explodes, and everybody's like Nintendo Direct, and it fucking works. It works.
There's Nintendo Direct hype when there's no Nintendo
Yeah.
Direct. We could go on Twitter right now and say to everybody, "Hey, who's excited about the next Nintendo Direct?" And you just get a thread that lasted 24 hours of people being like, "Yo, dog, I heard that Panzer Dragoon remake is going to lead into a Panzer Dragoon Saga remake." And oh my god.
Yeah.
I was at Nintendo's last ever E3 press conference in 2012 when their big reveal was Nintendo Land. And here is the only thing I remember about that presentation was looking at the dude next to me and being like, what the fuck is happening? And then also, here's a guy sitting in front of me who was a rep from a Brazilian retailer, and he said in English, what are we doing here?
Wow.
We are now we have exited the decade of social media and streaming.
I'm turning red.
And E3 has no place in it anymore. All it is very expensive for no reason. So, like, I don't know, man. Like, Sony's skipping E3. Why would they spend the money?
Yeah, I mean, let's look behind the scenes a bit, because I think a lot of people, when they heard that Nintendo was leaving E3, I remember this back when Nintendo first announced they weren't doing a conference at E3. People were like, "Oh, so there won't be any announcements, and they won't be," and like people won't. And it's like, no, they're gonna be showing shit at E3, and they will make announcements. Like, it doesn't matter to the like capital G gamers whether or not it happened at the Nokia Theater or in a live stream online. Like, but also, yeah, Nintendo has so decentralized that their E3 directs are really barely any bigger than the ones we get the rest of the year. Microsoft, Inside Xbox, towards the end of last year was incredible. As a standalone event. State of Play has been kind of building up, ramping up, and it now sounds like we're probably going to see the PS5 at its own dedicated launch event.
So, like, Derek, I guess that for me that begs the question is, looking at the State of Play, the format is just like the Nintendo Directs, to the point of being like borderline derivative. Like, it's a Nintendo Direct only with
it's the PlayStation All-Stars of Nintendo Directs. Like,
but also, what else
what
are
if
you
we
gonna
did
do?
Something that was Smash Brothers, but with none of the charm.
But yeah, it's like imagine Reggie. Imagine like a Nintendo Direct is Reggie, and a State of Play is what's his name? Jim. What's his name?
Kevin Butler.
Jim Ryan. Oh. A State of Play is Jim Ryan, just standing there like a guy who looks like he presses his underwear, and just kind of talks to you about video games for 20 minutes. Like that's a State of Play. But what's interesting is that, or I guess my question is does Sony start moving away from annual E3 presentations and fully over to that Nintendo model of, let's talk about what we have coming 3 times a year?
I would not be surprised if over the next couple of years we saw some manifestation of PSX come back, because that performed profoundly well for them. And now more than ever, Sony is going to need that kind of community building event. I mean, I don't want to diminish the fact that events are incredibly important. Events really, really matter in this whole landscape. Whoa!
Yay!
Our beautiful boy. What happened to
Stockmaster.
John's mic for a second there?
Dropped immediately. The excitement flattened out.
Discord had to silence him.
Get Finn out of the group chat, quick!
No, I'm so cool.
Finn, what's going on, man?
hi,
It's good to
man.
see you, bud.
Oh, it's been a day, my friends.
Did you literally just get in the door from work?
Yes.
So we're actually talking right now about, just to catch you up, we're talking about E3. Sony's pulled out of E3. There's been this kind of downward trend of E3 being like the center of big gaming announcements, big trade shows, and I guess like what separates E3 now from something like PAX that's already happening several times a year, and
More expensive
GDC.
and
Real
more-
quick, before Finn answers that, Finn, Finn, before you answer that, I have a surprise for everybody on this podcast and everybody in chat. I'm gonna pull a little magic trick for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're
Yeah.
gonna disappear.
What?
Wait. What is?
What?
Oh!
We have Nintendaan.
I know
What's
who
up,
that is.
everybody?
Oh, what just happened? So here's the thing, right? We were super short on people tonight, and Daan lives in Europe, and
Yeah.
so Daan literally woke up and crawled out of bed. At like what? Daan, what time is it over there right now?
It's currently 3:15.
Oh my
Daan
God.
sent me a
Yeah.
message and said it's 3:15 and I'm up now, and I was like, I have to let him in here now. Like I feel fucking terrible if I don't. Jesus, Daan, you didn't have to do that.
You
I
know
was
what?
already awake.
It's
I was
called
already
What
dedication.
time were you playing Mario Kart with us on Saturday? Now that I think about it, was it like 4 a.m. for you?
Yes.
Oh,
Don is the Mario Kart driver. What drives at midnight? All right, Finn, please answer the question.
So
I should
the
probably
easy
explain to
answer is-
Don where we're at
Oh,
right
yeah.
now.
Oh yeah, please.
Good question.
So basically, we for our first topic have been talking about E3. Sony's
Mhm.
pulled out of E3. E3's kind of been decentralizing. We're arguing kind of ever since Nintendo first pulled out of doing their press conferences at E3. What really is there anything that separates E3 from any of these other trade shows like the multiple PAX shows, for example, that happens several times a year, and that's just in the US alone. That's not counting stuff that happens in Europe, Japan, etc.
Right.
Finn.
So before I answer, I have to say this is my first show with your sexy new camera look.
Yeah.
Derek,
Dude,
my
Derek
dude.
is looking fine. Like I'm not even gonna lie, dude. Like,
mean,
like
Derek, it's almost a little unfair because
the rest of us are like fuck. Derek's like the PS4 Pro, Finn, and the rest of us are like the rest of us are like Xenoblade 2 Chronicles,
Oh, yes.
handheld on Switch. Like that's what we're looking like right now.
the voice and the looks, my dude. Come on.
Yeah.
You gotta get that. All right. So to answer the question, Anthony noticed my answer earlier. Is the only thing that really stops it now is it's more exclusive and it's more expensive
for everyone. For
For less-
everyone.
to everybody. Yeah. I mean, E3 is still fun, but there's just something missing to it now because it started with Rockstar being like, "We're good, we're gonna," and everyone was like, "That's okay." Then it was then EA pulled out, and we were like, "Okay," but we still got the big ones. The Nintendo said we're just going to do directs. We'll still be there, but the days of the big press conferences are over. And it's just like every year it seems to diminish a little, and they replace it with stuff that doesn't appeal to me at all. You know, like it's more mobile. I like mobile games, but I don't need an entire half wing dedicated to Fortnite for me. I don't know.
There is,
F-
like, there's so much attention that is still commanded by E3.
Yeah.
Right.
And like people, there is a contingent of people who care about it deeply, and it's weird that something that was created solely so that people who ran a fucking Babbage's knew what to put on shelves. That
Holy
bad.
shit, Babbage's, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck, I
There's a
fucking forgot all
Babbage
about
drop.
Babbage's.
I worked at a Babbage.
Yo, boys, let's get in the car. Hit up Electronics Boutique. Get some fucking video games.
I'm pretty sure there's an Aerith action figure around here with a Babbage's. But like, you know, like, the fact that like it started with managers and regional managers being like, what do we stock, is now basically it's like a faded rock band. The people that care about E3 are like people that walk around with Pearl Jam patches on their backpack.
How fucking dare you slander Pearl Jam, Anthony? Pearl Jam,
I would
I'm
never.
almost 40.
Here's the thing, though. Like E3 is still a big event because it's still something I want to tune into, and it's still where a lot of announcements and stuff like revolves around that time frame. So it's still a week of like huge gaming news. It's just it doesn't have that excitement of like even just 5 years ago where I would make sure I took off for 3 days so I could sit and watch all of the press conferences and just soak it all in. Like those days are done. And
Yeah.
it is what it is. But
So like, I mean, let's be honest about that though, right? Like, everybody knows I'm a Nintendo guy first most, but dude,
Mhm.
play like Sony consistently puts on the best shows at E3. They do. It's a fact. Excuse
Except
me.
for the last one.
Yeah, that last one
Yeah,
was
The last one was a little weird, but
We're 3 years out from a good Sony show.
but dude, I still remember the Sony show with Spider-Man and Resident Evil 2 and Shadow of the Colossus remake. Like, dude, I was like, fuck, like I couldn't fucking handle it. And and with Nintendo, like, and I'm sure Don is the other big Nintendo guy here. I'm sure Don will agree that we already get 3 Nintendo E3s a year, right, Don? Like that's basically
Excluding any game ones, sure. Yeah.
right. Yeah, exactly. So I feel like I'm excited for E3 because I know I'm going to get a Nintendo Direct, not necessarily because I'm excited about E3 itself. Which Anthony goes back to our conversation of like, fucking, if people smell that there might be a Nintendo Direct in the air, like everybody loses their fucking minds.
Yeah.
But like honestly, going forward, and I want to kick this over to Don and see what he thinks because Don hasn't really had
Sure.
a chance to cut in yet. I don't want to. So look, I joked a little bit earlier when I said, rip E3. Like I don't think it's, but at the same time, going forward with Sony pulling out, with like Finn mentioned earlier, with entities like Rockstar already gone, Nintendo is just being Nintendo and they're doing their own thing anyway.
Yeah.
Combined with the just absolute slipshod handling of journalists' personal information.
Oh boy.
Like going forward for E3, like is E3 ever going to have the clout it used to again? Or is it? You don't think so?
No.
Well, Final Fantasy VII Remake comes out before it, so there won't be a cloud.
Hey,
I've missed you, Finn, my man.
Oh God!
But
Finn, the funniest part of that is your conviction that Final Fantasy VII Remake will come out.
Yes. Hashtag believe.
yeah,
Don,
but
go ahead, buddy.
yeah. So I was one of the people that got their information stolen by the ESA,
remember
so that was a
that.
good time.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been to E3 since 2012, and this is the first year I just don't want to go. Like, I was kind of reluctant last year, and the only reason I went, I got to sleep at a friend's house.
Ooh,
But this is the-
sleepover.
Yes, sleepover. But this is the first time I just don't want to go. And that's mostly due to the ESA never probably apologizing for what they did.
Yeah, they haven't apologized yet, like at all, right, Dan? Like they haven't.
They made it a halfway apology, but never went all the way. They never took blame for what happened because obviously they put it publicly on their website. So who's to blame really for it?
Yeah. It's them.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no other party involved. Like, it is shitty that it is incredibly shitty that a certain wannabe journalist who shall not be named found it and put out that the information was out there before
Gee, who could you be
the
talking
ESA.
about?
Yeah, before the ESA could take it down. But ultimately, like, the ESA should never have had that stuff in a publicly accessible Excel document. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what happens when you visit the marketplace of ideas. So yeah.
But
so
for me, like E3 is a convention that I don't really want to go to either way. Like last year was sort of the stopping point. Like it was a good direct we had for Nintendo. And I had a good time like walking around, but it felt emptier and emptier.
Well,
While Gamescom for me, like the opposite, where I'm closer, it's 2 hours away from me.
what
That's becoming bigger and
Gamescom's
bigger.
been growing every year. Yeah.
it has, and like I guess I'll kick this out to Don and Anthony because I have not been to either. Finn as well. So basically this is for Anthony, Don, and Finn. I have not been to E3. Finn has represented SDGC at E3 as part of the press, and of course Don and Anthony have been there, numerous times. I had a good friend tell me E3 died when they made it a public event.
Oh, it
Yes.
died before. It
What do
died-
you guys think about that?
It died
Yeah,
before.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
Don,
Like,
I'd be very curious to see if you agree with this statement.
Yeah.
I have been since 2015, and I'm no longer affiliated with a single media outlet. I'm back on my
Same.
own. But
You're a mercenary.
I'm a merc. Soldier
I'm a-
of
Mark
game
with
fortune.
Mark with a party mouth.
I'm a merc with a perfect beard, a smoking jacket, a glass of absinthe, and fucking opinions about video games.
Let's do it. But when I was an editor, starting in 2015, when I was at Engadget, I
Yeah.
lobbied every single year I was part of an organization to not send teams on the ground. And Don, I don't know if you agree with this. The return, just simply the return on investment for going to E3 to produce content is
Yes.
a losing proposition.
Well, to be fair, I mostly do Nintendo, so I have a weirdly different skew than that. But if I would compare like appointments that I had during E3 and Gamescom, I had double the appointments at Gamescom that I had from E3.
Absolutely.
Shit.
And like
And-
you're going to get more content for your specific audience. You're going to get more Nintendo related content. It's going to be cheaper for you to produce,
Yes.
and more people are going to care. Like
hmm
yeah, anyway.
But yeah, for me, like Gamescom, this was last year, the first year that they used all the halls in the Cologne Convention Center, which is 16, by the way. And they use it for merch. They have a specific indie hall. They have a specific one where they have more retro stuff, like arcades and stuff. And then they have like 4 areas that are perfectly suited for just business stuff. So you're not on the public floor, just like E3. You're just separated from everybody else. It's such a well-smoothed and put together convention, just for how much it goes all over the place with the public and the press stuff. Like the only big area of problems right now is that the place where you write the articles is all the way through the public area, so they should do something about that particularly. But on any other way, I marginally prefer Gamescom over E3 now because it is 2 halls, which has much more diminishing returns. And outside of Nintendo and going to the Xbox Plaza, what is there really for you to get out of E3?
And what does this is a legitimate question. When was the last time, and for all of us, when was the last time there was an announcement at E3 that was truly like industry shaking or fandom shaking?
So
When
I'm
was
gonna-
the
I'm
last
gonna
time there was
put
a new
E3 of Dreams.
I'm gonna put
2015.
a kind of an amateur's spin on that because obviously I am not a journalist. I am just a guy who does a podcast who knows some production shit. But the way I look at it, everything that's gonna get announced at E3 is getting announced before E3 even opens.
Yep.
So that's the thing. Like as a small outlet like SDGC, we've been thinking about whether or not to go or try to go to E3. We're going to be at PAX East soon. We're talking about maybe hitting up PAX West. We're looking at how things go. Yeah, me, Jonathan, will all be there. But, that's...
On our first ever panel, by the way.
Yeah, like, but that's the thing.
First SDGC panel.
Is
throwing that out there.
is if I was to look at going at E3, it's like, what do I gain out of going to E3? It's going to be hard for us to get appointments if we did, because we're a small outlet. And it's not worth going to E3 if you don't get appointments set up, because you're not going to get anything out of waiting in those lines. You're not going to be there when any big news breaks, because it's all breaking before the doors open. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you can get hands-on with stuff, but that seems to me like that's the only benefit of actually being at E3.
And
Hell, they're
when-
overworking everyone so much. It doesn't even seem, from what I hear, it doesn't even sound like much good networking happens at E3.
No,
Yeah,
no,
for
but
the
that
for the
would
other
happen.
half,
Yeah.
for the other half, it's also like you need to be the privileged few that gets access to specific stuff.
Yeah.
Especially with Nintendo, and I've been covering Nintendo for 15 years now, which feels weird.
And
But
they're so weird about everything.
but I've never been invited to something very exclusive backstage at E3. Like I've been
If you haven't been invited, then fuck, what do you gotta do? Whose gooch do I
Yeah.
gotta tickle? Like,
yeah, it's mostly the American and a few European outlets that get invited just for that specific stuff and nobody else.
Yeah, and like honestly, it often feels very arbitrary.
Yes,
mean,
and
I-
even I don't know if you guys noticed, like there is a subset group of people of journalists that get to see the Nintendo Direct 3 days before everybody else.
Yeah.
And the funny part is that the Breath of the Wild trailer wasn't in that version.
That's funny.
Oh, that's cool. I like that though. I like that shit. See, I like that's what I love about Nintendo is that they
cheeky.
Nintendo and that's the thing about Nintendo Directs and you know the E3 spotlight is that they know that Nintendo fans lose their minds, they just lose their collective fucking minds over Directs, and so I love that. That's why I love watching react to shit. You know, like I love watching people react to like, you know, Directs and stuff. You know, people freak out like when they eventually announce Metroid Prime Trilogy,
Sure.
which is going to be a thing. Like, you know, yeah, it's a joke, but it's going to be a thing at some point. They're going to announce it. And shut your fucking mouth, Anthony and Derek and Finn. You can all.
I believe
ass.
that
Haven't
the
said a
trilogy will happen
goddamn
at
thing.
some point. I
It's
don't
going-
think it will
see?
happen in the
Listen
first
to-
half of 2019 at the very least.
Listen to Daan. It's fucking happening. The game has been
In the
done for
first half,
years.
yeah.
Okay, Anthony can sit down there and fucking laugh with his smug smile all he wants. All he wants.
I've been hearing about how Metroid Prime.
Hey, you know what, dude?
Been out for 3 years.
It's fucking real.
I don't doubt it for a second. I don't doubt it for a second.
Infrastructure Week is coming, y'all.
John, you
Okay,
wait every
so
Let's get Finn. Finn has been
Finn,
waiting for
what
this
do you
bullshit.
Finn? What? It better not be about Metroid.
It's not.
Much like Nintendo, I have nothing to say about Metroid. I have
Fuck you, Finn. Kiss
No.
my fucking ass, Finn. You can eat my whole ass. You can eat my entire butt.
So, no, I have a question for Don because I'm
Sure.
curious because we're talking about how now we are in a culture where people lose their shit over just the idea of a direct maybe coming in the next
Yeah.
couple of days. But when they first announced that they were switching from press conferences to a weird like 30-minute pre-recorded thing, like that was not the case. But you were covering Nintendo back then. So
Yeah.
what's your take on that? Like how did you see that shift go down?
So the way that Direct started was really interesting. So they did so in Japan they did a press conference in 2011 for the 3DS called Nintendo 3DS Conference 2011. They used to do specific Nintendo conference in Japan every September. That was the first time they ever live streamed it, and because of that, they started adopting mostly the Direct format because it was mostly still the presentation, but then a month later in Japan they did a 35-minute presentation about Wii and 3DS software, which they called Nintendo Direct without a date. And then they just kept doing them for now 9 years.
Yeah.
I think it made sense at the time because in 2012 they already did a pre-E3 Direct with talking about the Wii U hardware before the presentation. And honestly, the pre-E3 Direct was better than the actual presentation. So it made sense to move over to Directs completely. And 2013 was like the year, like every month or every 3 weeks there was a Direct for even the smallest thing possible. Like they did a freaking Direct about the Louvre guide.
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird. That was weird.
But yeah,
So-
I was just curious because I knew you'd have a unique perspective on that because it's just weird to see how it goes now versus
Yeah.
how it used to be when they first made that announcement.
Yeah, they used to be scattered across like business meetings, then E3, and then almost nothing else. Now they save it for every 3 months, and then the announcement that's more casual, they just drop on the Twitter and pre-announce it, like with Labo or with Ring Fit Adventure.
So, I've actually got an E3 prediction here to throw at everybody, and it's a PlayStation prediction. So, So obviously they've already said they're going to set E3 out. I do think that we're going to get an E3 adjacent presentation.
I do.
Within a week or two, you think?
I think it's good. Yeah, I think it's gonna be the same week. I think it's gonna be like a Rockstar deal, right? Like they're not on the main stage at E3. They're doing their own presentation.
Yeah.
It's gonna be in LA. They're gonna do the whole thing. You're gonna see a bunch of next gen PS5 games, launch titles displayed, and so I'm gonna drop something. So I'm gonna drop something that I was told. I believe, and I have no reason. I believe this guy who told me this. I'm not gonna tell you who it is, but I have been told that there will be PS1 backwards compatibility, PS2 backwards compatibility, PS4 backwards compatibility, but possibly not PS3.
I will fucking shit because that's the only one that matters.
Possibly not PS3 because of the cell process.
Yeah,
But I
that's
just want to play 3D Dot Game Heroes.
3D dot game.
okay.
I fucking love 3D dot game heroes, dude.
I'm gonna be real with you.
Mm.
PS1 and PS2 are preserved through emulation, right? Like let's be real about the fact that emulation does exist and does count towards game preservation. That's fine. PS3 right now, unless you have a crusty old PS3, you
I
got
do.
fucking nothing.
Yeah,
There's
you got
no way to
Well,
actually play those games.
How am I ever gonna do my Let's Play Lair?
Look, I want to
Lair's
play.
so good.
I want to play Dynasty Warriors Gundam 3, and I fucking can't.
There
all I
are
wanna
But
say.
I want to play Little Big
collections-
Planet Kart Racing.
Sure, why not?
How will I play? But look, here's the thing. How will I fucking play Ride to Hell Redemption on PS5 if I can't play PS3 games?
Well, first of all, John,
How?
you
Answer me that. Answer me that.
How will you play Grand Theft
where's my
Auto 5?
Haze remaster, okay? Haze HD. The world
Haze
demands-
HD. Motherfucking Haze.
I will play
Jesus.
Rich Racer. Do you
Yeah.
remember that?
Ridge Racer!
Racer.
The world needs a new Genji.
Yeah, I'm about that. All right, so
Yeah.
before we move on, sounds like general consensus. Look, E3's not gonna die, but it's been decentralizing for a while now.
I don't think it has. I don't think it's gonna have.
and
I
this
don't
is
think it's
just
ever gonna get
more slowing of the momentum, basically, right?
I don't. Yeah, exactly. I completely agree. So, Panzer in chat asks, "Isn't there a PS3 emulator? Sony has to have one, right? If they're using it for PS Now."
No, PS3 emulation's garbage.
Yeah,
there-
it's-
there are a
it's-
couple.
There are a couple.
It's out there, but it's
none,
garbage, and it's
none of
because
them are very
the cell.
good. And PS Now is not very good.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's why it sucks. That's why you don't see Sony pushing the shit out of it. Although I have a sneaking suspicion that is going to be their fix for PS3 backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
Mm.
Which I mean, I guess you gotta get what you can take. I will be interested to see, provided that we do get and this is the last point I'll make. If we do get backwards compatibility all the way back to PlayStation 1, that's a game changer for me. I love PlayStation 1 games. That's a powerhouse because PlayStation 1 has some of the best games of all time on it. My fear is that it's all just going to be streamed and emulated. You won't actually be able to download the games. You'll be able it'll be a streaming service. And
I will say this, John. Most people forget this. There is a fully functional universal PlayStation 2 emulator baked into the PlayStation 4's OS.
that's
They just
yeah.
won't let you use it. So we do know that Sony has a software platform that will let you just pop in a disc if they unlock it, and then you can play that.
It's not
They
hard
won't.
to brute force emulation of the PlayStation 1 and 2. They're not that weird of hardware. It can be done on a toaster PC. You know, we're not even talking about
Or
a
an
gaming
actual
PC.
toaster.
Probably.
What if you were able to play a game on a toaster?
Yeah,
though, Eric? Like,
probably. I mean, you know,
I
but
want
it-
to play. I want to play The Last of Us on a Texas Instruments calculator.
but PS3 is the one that's in a precarious position. And I mean, so is the Xbox 360, but Microsoft is at least committed to, you know, backwards compatibility, even if it's on a game-by-game basis and not the whole platform. Like, they're doing everything they can to take all of the best and most notable games and make them available, even if none of those are Dynasty Warriors Gundam 3. So,
so
You know what? Dynasty Warriors Gundam 4 to come out on PS5.
it came out on PS3, it just wasn't good.
so we have some we have some game delays.
Well, shit.
Uh,
Yeah,
I'll-
well,
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, please.
No, I'm saying before we change subjects, RAR in chat, I need to do my tribute to him because Derek can't. So here we go.
hey!
Please
you, Finn.
continue. Saki bless.
Yeah, let's talk about game delay Mageddon. For those who cannot see because they're listening to the podcast
If you
version,
don't love me
That's really
at my,
Yamcha in a crater.
then you don't love me at my best. This is my new mantra. I made this at work. It's,
If
I
you
was
don't love me at
born
my
here.
Yamcha in a crater.
I'm very proud of this. So Anyway, please continue.
Yeah, I will. Thanks,
Game
Ben.
Delaymageddon. Everything. There are no video games coming out in the next 3
literally
years.
Everything has been delayed. So I've actually so we'll start off with like the one that's like the biggest for me in my opinion. Dying Light 2 has been delayed indefinitely.
Yeah, that's-
Oh, Dying Light 2 got delayed again?
Indefinitely,
Yeah.
Anthony. Anthony,
Dying Light
indefinitely.
2 doesn't
Came out
exist.
When I was in college. Like,
I can't believe that a Techland game got delayed.
Yeah,
I
right?
can't believe
Wow.
like I was in fucking high school when Dying Light 2 was that was in 1997. I can't believe it's been delayed again. Like
it
so
will still run like shit when it comes out, too. It will still run like shit.
So
It
I've got
is
the
I would
story
expect
from-
nothing less from Techland.
I pulled up the story from Games Radar here. Dying Light 2, the open world action sequel from Polish developer Techland, has been delayed indefinitely from its original launch window of spring 2020. So here's what's notable. So I had a beer burp come up on me. Oh, that's spicy.
You hit me with some more of those
Um,
games.
So Dying Light 2 was not given a launch window. It was delayed indefinitely. Indefinitely. We have no fucking idea. So guaranteed this is a next gen game.
Here's the thing. Most
it's
people
not it's
didn't expect that game was coming out in the next few months anyway. So.
I did, to be perfectly honest with you. Like like I really, because they launched Dying Light in the first part of 2017, and it did great. Like it sold phenomenally. So I thought that they would try to do the same thing with Dying Light 2. But now that it's been delayed indefinitely, I have no fucking idea when we're gonna see this game. Like who fucking knows, dude? Like
Get those new consoles out, something that can give them a little bit more horsepower to let it run a little bit more stably, and then come out
Ha.
swinging in January or February of 2021.
Oh, that's funny. You said run more stably about a Techland game.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, by run stably for a Techland game, I mean like it doesn't crash after 10
Okay,
seconds.
sure.
I'm
So-
not saying like the
gonna have
animations will
that
be smooth or
jank.
anything.
So there are other games that have been delayed, and so I feel like these are the Dying Light 2 for me was just hilarious because it got delayed indefinitely. You
Yes.
never really see that. That's like one step away from canceled. The other games that got delayed do have release dates and windows, and those are the ones that we should focus on, in my opinion. And we'll start with Cyberpunk 2077 because that is
Called
one
it.
of the biggest titles, and you did call it. That is one of the biggest titles this year. It is.
I think
It was
Finn and I both
originally
called
supposed
that.
to launch in April, and it has now been delayed till September 17th for playtesting, fixing, and polishing.
I've been saying
But
that was going to be a fall game for so long.
You
But
have.
It makes me so happy because initially it was great. We had Doom in March, and then we had Resident Evil and Final Fantasy in April. No, we had Final Fantasy at the beginning of the month of March. It ended with Doom, and then we had
And Animal
Resident Evil,
Crossing.
Cyberpunk. Sure, and also Animal Crossing.
Yeah, you got to remember Finn hates it.
I don't. That's fine. But then Final Fantasy got delayed, and it went. 1 week was Doom, the next week was Final Fantasy, Resident Evil, then Final Fantasy, then Cyberpunk, and I was like, oh dear God, I really hope Cyberpunk gets delayed because that's too many big games condensed into a 1 month period. So part of me is happy because also Witcher got delayed like 16 times.
I was just gonna say, dude, this is it hasn't been delayed. It's just on CD Projekt Red time.
Yeah.
Like
CD Projekt Red time.
When have they ever not delayed a game 7 times? I mean, Witcher 1 was delayed like 4 years.
Yeah. It was running on the
Yes.
It was running on the
computer.
Neverwinter Nights engine. Like what?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
built my first gaming computer because Witcher 1 was supposed to come out that year, and then by the time it did come out, I had to upgrade my PC.
Yeah. It was supposed to come out the spring of 2004. It shipped in 2007. This is just how they work, and every single time they make a new game, they get bigger, they get more ambitious, they get more money to make it, and it's like, oh, this is gonna take way longer. Keanu Reeves has so many individual beard hairs. We need to
Yeah, but
make
dude,
every single
but here's
one
Anthony.
just
You
right.
have to capture every Keanu Reeves beard hair, every strand of hair in that
Every
beard.
one.
You have to because you know what, dude? I need Keanu to be breathtaking.
Yes.
Okay.
He is breathtaking, and
like-
so are you.
Look like a full beard. It has to have those weird spaces
Yeah.
all over the place.
He's got that
otherwise it's
patchy-
not authentic.
Yeah.
Dude, honestly, you want to talk about great E3 moments? Honestly, Keanu Reeves coming out on the Xbox stage is probably the greatest E3 moment of all
That was
time.
tight.
That was pretty
tight.
good.
That was
Well,
fucking hype as fuck.
But like John, you, Don and I were talking on Saturday when we were playing Mario Kart about the fact that Cyberpunk is not super like exciting.
I don't really care about
Moments?
Cyberpunk.
It's a
also,
big deal, I guess, but I
to
don't
be
know.
fair though, Anthony, we were talking more about Don's fucking pro gamer moves than we were Cyberpunk. We were
pro gamer strats.
Oh, real quick. As long as Don is here, since he didn't hear what I said earlier.
Oh,
Don,
no.
I just want you to know, and I really debated whether or not I should tell you this, but obviously my son played with us for a while and then he went to bed. The next day, Don, I just want you to know, and I will forever hold this against you. He was playing Fortnite with his friends on the couch, and he screamed out, "I just pulled a pro gamer move," and I fucking hate everything about it. I literally hate. There's nothing about it that I like.
To be fair, to be completely 100% fair, I didn't say pro gamer move once that night.
Yes, but
There was
everybody
all
else
others in the
did,
chat.
Don. Everybody else did because you introduced it into SDGC vernacular.
At least you didn't say
This
fuck
is
barrel.
your fault.
How is it? I didn't say it once. You can prove to me anything.
I'm gonna play the fucking tapes. I'm sure you said it at least once.
So what else? What else got delayed, John?
Fucking Don, man. Oh, here's the
Before we go, Cyberpunk, I was really excited about because I got that presentation.
oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and I mostly wanted to play it the stealth way, but yeah, now I can't. I have to wait for another.
Now you gotta wait.
Few
And
months,
now you gotta wait. You gotta wait to be stealthy. Good things come to those who wait, though.
Yes.
What else has been delayed?
Saki.
Son of Saki.
Here's another one that got delayed, and one that I think probably needed to be delayed, and one that I'm not sure the delay will save it. Marvel's Avengers from Crystal Dynamics.
John and
was
I are going to
delayed.
fight about this till release. The funny thing is, I have seen comparisons where people took the original release footage from the first time it was announced back at what was it? Was it last E3?
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody took
Yeah.
like a couple of the characters from that, and then they compared them to footage from the most recent, like I think it's the Kamala Khan trailer, and like no major work has been done even in just those couple months. A lot of those character models were completely overhauled. Like, I hate to say it, but like a lot of us were guessing when that game was first revealed, like they were talking about it's pre-alpha, and I was like, how are they going to get this out in time for May or whatever? Turns out that they just fucking weren't. Like, you don't go from pre-alpha to done in that short amount of time, and they showed it off too early. That's why they don't have enough to show. That's why their first showings looked so rough. People are not used to seeing pre-alpha footage with assets that are that early in development.
I would argue that people aren't used to seeing Captain America with such a shitty, horrible character design, but that's just me.
But regardless,
I almost want to argue that the character design is better in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
Oh,
well, it's just much more. It's
100%.
just straight
That's
up.
not even an argument.
It's meant to look exactly like the I mean, you're going for a different aesthetic, but the point is, like, this game, I think every single person has been sitting here like, we've not heard anything about this game. It looks rough. Yeah. It's coming out in May. There's no fucking way this is good. And it turns out that it's not that they were blazing through development. They were just very bad at picking release dates.
Derek, I'm gonna go out and make my one prediction here that like I would take a money bet on this. Avengers doesn't ship this year.
That might not surprise me either. I wouldn't be surprised if it misses this gen entirely. Actually, I
see.
Yeah.
I like it.
The thing is, I think Avengers is going to end up being a significantly better game than most people want to meme on it right now.
I want it to be good.
Yeah.
I do. I just don't
No,
think it's
you
going to
don't.
be. I do. Dude, I fucking love. Love. Dude, I've literally got an infinity gauntlet sitting on my fucking stand over there.
And look, I
to be
get you
good.
because Cap's costume, as our friend Tom Johnson so eloquently puts it, he does look like he votes. Like,
Direwolf in the chat says, an issue for me is really the voice actors, great cast, but I don't hear Tony or Cap. I hear Joel and Drake.
I agree.
That's gonna happen. The problem is we're at a point in the voice acting industry where if you go for voice acting talent, like so many of the greats have either dropped and retired out of like game and anime voice acting because it doesn't pay very well. And moved to like broadcast television, which pays absurdly well, or they've moved into voice directing roles, you know? So you used to have this huge variety of like big names to pick from, and now you've got a very weird tiered system of like a handful of really good premium voice actors and a bunch of no names who are really good but haven't built up their reputation yet. So you're going to hear Nathan Drake and fucking everything for a while, and Troy Baker and all of the Critical Role cast. They're just going to be everywhere because it's all the people out there.
I think one of the biggest issues for me, and this is the last thing I'll say about Avengers, I think one of the biggest issues with Avengers for me when it was first shown was that boss fight between Black Widow and Taskmaster just wasn't all that interesting.
It was rough.
It was just, you know, literally repeating the same moves over and over on Task. And I'm not talking like, you know, oh, you know, she's diving on. She was just literally pulling it was like you block a punch from Taskmaster and then do a flip move.
I mean, I get that, like,
and do a flip move, and I'm like, okay.
I'd hesitate to even call him a boss because he was in it's the tutorial of the game. But like at the same time, it looked rough. The like hit impacts were rough. I'd be really curious to see how that shapes up because it was really rough. Like, and that's not a good foot to put forward, which is funny because people who played it said it felt pretty good to play, but it sure don't look it. So
also, I mean, yeah, okay, it demoing well still doesn't mean anything for the way that game is going to perform.
Right. That's a slice. That's not
like, guess
the
what,
game.
Man? Destiny 1 demoed really, really well. And
Yeah.
then it ate ass for 6 months after it released. And they're positioning this as a service game at the moment where the entire games as a service economy is exploding. You know, we're looking at a situation where most people aren't even going to be allowed to sell loot boxes most places in a year's time.
Hey, I'm in a country where that's heavily criticized, so hey.
Hell yes, and thank you all for your work. You're doing good stuff for the rest of us.
I don't know, man. I think that Square Enix is at a moment where there are two bodies to Square Enix. There's Square Enix, and then there's Square Enix London, which was formerly known as Eidos. And Square Enix London is coming off 3 years of fucking flops. Just Cause 4 tanked. Shadow the Tomb Raider tanked. Hitman, they handled Hitman so fucking poorly that they were like, oh, we need to get rid of IO Interactive.
God,
IO
that's
Interactive and had an enormous success with Hitman 2. Square Enix London.
Thank you, WB.
Yeah.
Right? They cannot afford for Avengers to tank. And I think the fact that we saw the delay of Final Fantasy VII, a game that's finished, we know it's finished.
Yep.
The full game leaked to the world. You know, that game is done, and they pushed it so they can pad the next fiscal year.
That's exactly why they did it.
I never thought of it that way, but
That's exactly why they did it. The game is 100%.
Yeah.
Fiscal year ends at the end of March 2020.
110%, Anthony.
In April. That's why they did it. We are not going to see Avengers until, I'm going to say, January of 2021. Right when they're really going to need it at the end of the fiscal year, when that game will have some polish, and a bunch of PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X owners are going to be desperate to play something on their new Christmas presents.
I think despite Square Enix putting out several really good titles this generation, I think this has been a really, really bad generation for Square Enix behind the scenes. I think that a lot of their best games have come out almost in spite of Square Enix. You know, like stuff like Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy 15 were both probably one bad week away from being rebooted again at some point in their final development. Let's be real, because that happened. How many times did those games start, get a year or two into development, and then restart from scratch? Final Fantasy VII Remake did the same thing several times. They've been mishandling their Western publishing arm.
It's so weird, Derek, because like Anthony knows, and you know, and I know Finn knows, like Square Enix is one of those companies, like back during the Super Nintendo PS1 era, they were pumping out games, like 3 quality games a year.
Yeah.
Like, boom, boom,
Sure,
boom,
sure.
boom, boom, boom.
But I mean,
like
companies change, companies move around, and the problem is that while you've got good creative talent at Square, I think you have extremely poor management of their projects. You know, I think it's poor. If I was gonna say, because you almost see a nice clean divide where their Eastern stuff seems like it's really poor project management versus their Western stuff seems to be a really bad kind of marketing and direction angle. Like Shadow of the Tomb Raider could have done better than it did. It's not a bad game. Like it's perfectly fine.
It's not a bad game, but Anthony's right. It fucking bombed.
Yeah,
Like,
and it didn't need to. You know, Hitman didn't need to bomb.
One point I want to make. So yesterday, and I can easily say this, John said, "So when do you think they're gonna make The World Ends With You 2?" And I literally told him,
Yeah.
"It's a Nomura game. It will be delayed by 3 other times before it actually comes out in any shape, way, or form."
Yeah. I mean,
I actually
how many of these Final Fantasy like remakes, not like 7 scale, but stuff like, you know, 5 and 6, you know, people would ask for like how many of those do you think they could have burned through if they had just
God, don't get me fucking started on that.
Yeah, like, I mean, let's be real. We could have, people have been clamoring for Final Fantasy 6 anything for some time. It's like, and you look at the Switch, and if it's before 7, it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
And then
Yep,
last generation, they constantly went from 1 to 4, and then skipped, and went.
Yeah.
Like they keep skipping 5 and 6. No one knows why. Anytime like anybody does a ranking of best RPGs ever, like 6 pops up like clockwork, as well it should. But I go and ask the merchandising crew of Square Enix every time, like, do you guys have anything 6 in the works? And they're like, nope.
Yep.
Sucks.
So here's what fucking kills me about that, right, Finn?
Like, that's it.
Here's what fucking kills me about that. We're getting fucking HD releases of fucking Romancing Saga games.
Yes.
Romancing Saga games, which are fine, but they're extremely niche and obtuse and not very popular and not all that great. We're getting fucking Romancing Saga 2, Romancing Saga 3, fucking Saga Scarlet Grace.
Yo,
like,
that game is good, though.
Which is a good game.
It is.
But where the fuck are Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 5, Final Fantasy 6, fucking Chrono Trigger? Like, where the fuck are these games?
At least
Where it boggles my fucking mind. Where's Final Fantasy Tactics? Why has Final Fantasy
How is
Tactics
War of the
been
Lions not on
released?
Switch?
Where is Tactics? How is War of the Lions not on Switch? How is 6 not on Switch? How's Chrono Trigger not on Switch? Like, there better be some like surprise direct where Square Enix is like, hey, remember how they surprised us by bringing the Secret of Mana collection to America?
What a great fucking surprise.
Yeah. So I'm hoping for a Final Fantasy 6 Chrono Trigger, a Final Fantasy Anthology remake on the Switch.
Not only that, Finn, but I know Anthony will appreciate this. Look, you fucking localized Seiken Densetsu 3, okay? Localized Bahamut Lagoon. Localize fucking Terra, it's been localized. Bring Terranigma to the US. Like fucking I don't fucking get it. I don't get it. Like, Derek, go ahead. I fucking stop me from ranting.
Anthony,
please.
to your point earlier about the fiscal year, that's got to be the only goddamn reason Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles has been pushed this far. There's no way that remaster.
Got delayed. Yeah.
There's no reason that remaster is going to need to go into summer or fall. That game, it's a remaster of a pretty straightforward GameCube
To be
game.
fair, really fair.
Thing. I think Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles is getting pushed because they can't get it. That's cross-platform. Like,
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that
like,
part.
you can
All right,
play
that's
it on
something.
Switch, on PC, and PlayStation 4.
It's still
Yeah.
convenient.
Also, it didn't run too well in pre-release footage.
Yeah, it ran like shit in the trailers. Like,
That's so weird.
I,
That's so
I-
weird.
in
Also-
fact, the only reason that game is
Yeah.
so the guy who's the mastermind of the Saga series, Kawazu, is also one of the masterminds of Crystal Chronicles. And I think that the only reason these games keep coming back is that guy has been with Squaresoft since 1986, and now he's an executive. And so when they're sitting there laying out projects, he's like, yeah, we're going to make another Saga. But sir, we only make $5 on every release. We're making another saga. So like, I'm sure that
yeah.
Crystal Chronicles, he's like, we'll release it when I'm damn well satisfied that the jug carrying is as smooth as it needs to be.
Talking about financial years, the only other company that I figured who did this was Ubisoft, and they said that publicly, like, we're pushing back all our games to serve a new financial year.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Ubisoft, like, good that they're honest.
Yeah.
About it.
You know what's funny
Yeah.
is Capcom coming back has just been absorbing. Capcom like siphoned the competency essence away from Square Enix so that they could return to form. That's the only explanation I have.
Square Enix had to
sorry.
fail so that Monster Hunter World could live.
Yeah.
Man,
So-
Capcom is
so-
finally fixing their shitty physical releases too. Because, like, for the past couple of years, every single Switch thing that they put out, it's like, yeah, it's a Resident Evil cartridge, but only Resident Evil Zero's on it. Now they're getting good. They just put out a Mega Man box set in Japan. It's like all of them in a gorgeous little
Yes.
sleeve. They're nailing it.
So I've got a serious question for everybody. We all complain about like games like Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger being missing in action, but and with games like romancing, like the romancing series taking their place as Switch releases and PS4 releases. But in all honesty, like, where are these games, and specifically Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger, and why is Square not?
Because they haven't made a badly pixelated remake of it yet.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, because here's the problem, right?
Am I wrong, though?
No, you're not
Am I
wrong.
wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Here's the
I
problem.
mean,
Let's say I want to play Final Fantasy VI right now, okay? The problem is I've bought that damn game in too many formats already. So if you want me to pay, what's the current... My phone is dead. What's the current price for Final Fantasy VI on mobile?
All right, I'm looking it up right now.
You know, what's
I
the
want it
price on Steam?
$15.99.
You know,
hold on, Finn. How much is it?
I'm going to bet you $15.99. That sounds about right.
20?
Final Fantasy VI doesn't count. I already bought it, so it doesn't show me the price.
All right, hold on. I can get it.
I'm
Are
going
you
yeah,
to
doing
pull it
look
up.
it up
Price
right
is
now.
Right
Yeah.
this? Who's gonna do $1?
I'm gonna go with $1.99.
All right, $1.99.
No, it's gonna be okay. So Lena says $14.99 and Mr. Jellyby says $14.99 in the UK.
Okay, so it's that's
yeah.
so it's
$15.
$20 more
It's
expensive than it should.
15 No, you want them to give you $5 to play?
Yes, the mobile version. Yes, the mobile
Yeah,
version is
well,
ass.
that's true,
The mobile
because
version is garbage.
That's the thing. If I, as someone who loves Final Fantasy VI, want to play Final Fantasy VI,
Okay,
I'm
this is
not
funny.
gonna pay.
In euros, Final Fantasy VI is 17 euros.
Oh, that's rough.
No.
I do okay.
$15.99.
I'm so embarrassed that I can't remember Square Enix's CEO's name, but
Mhm.
he recently said,
What has he done that matters?
Publication.
That I should remember him.
Well, he turned around the comment. He took it from Yoichi
Did he?
Iwata.
Yeah,
Yoichi Iwata,
well,
that was a
yeah,
shit
he
show,
did. I mean,
and he fixed it a
Mm.
lot. He did say that the goal, especially with all the re-releases that they've done in just the past 18 months, we've seen Final Fantasy 12, we've seen Final Fantasy 8 remastered.
It's been a
we've
good
seen Final
turnaround
Fantasy-
recently, but like
Right.
FF6 is still garbage on PC and mobile. The FF9 port on Switch still has the mobile tooltips in it.
yeah, it's like no emojis allowed. That I'm like, fuck, like, are you
They're-
serious? Like,
They're getting better. Like, I think Final Fantasy 8 remastered is sort of the model that we can expect going forward.
that is actually a decent remaster.
And it's
Yes.
great. And I think that I can't remember if Red did this interview. It was a great interview on Games Industry. And he said, our goal is to have our entire library on every platform.
I did,
we're
yeah. I think
working
that
to
what,
get
what like I think Anthony, what they said was like they were looking at, like, for example, like streaming service for their games, right? Like
Right,
they wanted
yeah.
like all their platforms to be able to be streamed. Which, you know what,
Yeah.
fuck it, dude. At this point, if that's what it takes, because
Why not?
I have the same frustration. I have the same frustration with Square Enix that I do with Nintendo, and it's this: both of them have one of the richest backlogs of games in the entire industry.
Yeah.
And game preservation has been a sticking point for me for a very long time. Like, batteries in PSPs are starting to explode. Like, cartridges are starting to go bad. These games are going to become lost to time eventually. let us play them. I want to show my son what my son loves games just like I do. I want to show him what sparked these love of games in me. I want him to play the games that I did. Let us play these fucking games. Like, just drop them on a service. That's all you need. The demand is through the roof for this shit. I don't understand why they won't do it. Both of them.
It was called Virtual Console, but they didn't make many returns, so they made Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the reality is it is expensive to re-release a game. You know, you don't think about all the ancillary costs of it, you know, every single game you re-release, it has to be re-rated. You know, you've got to like just go to the ESRB, and that's one little step of sitting there and saying, here's a huge cost we've got to go through to push something out there that might get 10,000 downloads in sales.
It also doesn't help that for the longest time, like, let's call it like it is, the gaming console manufacturers have not stuck to a unified architecture for their hardware ever. I mean, Nintendo.
Only now is that changing. Only now is that.
Yeah, Nintendo for ages, I mean, jumped between different custom versions of like ARM and PowerPC based architectures that were so drastically different from generation to generation that it basically meant you couldn't just easily port forward. You know, Microsoft jumped around. Sony, no explanation needed there. They made the fucking sell. But we're finally at a point where Sony and Microsoft are using x86 based hardware that is just going to be bigger and better versions of itself for the next generation. Yeah. Nintendo with the Switch using the Tegra, it's an ARM based APU. You know, it's something standard. It's something that people work with all the time. Chips just like what's in the Switch are in mobile devices across the world. Programmers know how to fuck with those. So if we get a Switch 2, and even if they get they're going to use a new chipset, but if it's ARM based, it's not that hard to make backwards compatibility a thing. But instead, they're having to remake Super Mario Brothers 1 for the NES, system after system after system. And you're right, those costs add up because you've got to do that over and over again, which you don't have to do. Bruh, like, I don't have to worry about backwards compatibility on my PC. You know, I don't have to worry about every time I build a new PC, all the games that I love, waiting for those manufacturers to go to the ESA. You know what I mean? Like, they were good once. The hardware is natively compatible. We keep going. And there are issues with that, but like this kind of whimsical jumping about and never being forward thinking has really hurt us in terms of game preservation and keeping those classic games available. And that's why I can't play Dynasty Warriors Gundam 3, you motherfuckers.
Yeah, it's also that on Nintendo systems particularly, the engines that they used on Wii are no longer compatible with Switch.
Yeah.
So there was a system middleware called NintendoWare, which they used for WiiWare, most Wii U, and most for Wii games, a few Wii U games, and also a bunch of 3DS software. And they kind of actively stopped using NintendoWare, so it's significantly out of date.
Yeah.
All right, Derek, Dynasty Warriors Gundam 3, which is not as good as 2. I'm putting it out there. It keeps coming up.
Yeah.
I need to ask, have you ever played Gundam Breakers 3?
Yes. I got John to play it on Extra Life for a bit.
He did. Yes, he
Love
did.
it deeply.
Kicks ass.
Love it deeply. Dude, look, I'm a big old Gundam nerd. I love my Gundam games. Gundam Breaker, awesome. Love my Super Robot Wars. Love my Gundam Versus series.
I was at the Gundam base last summer in Japan.
Oh.
Oh!
And I will be back there this year.
You son of the bitch.
Basseret Ball.
I'm pretty sure Breakers 3 is still in my Vita right
Breaker
now.
3 is the best. It's so fucking good.
It's just
But yeah, so games, we've gotten kind of off the track on this particular topic, but like
Whatever.
it's fine.
whatever.
It's been natural and it's been good, damn it.
It's
But
so
like
natural.
games get delayed. Like, why do games get delayed? We've heard a couple, like you pointed out kind of the situation of sometimes stuff just gets shuffled for for like fiscal year purposes to hide that it's going to be a bad quarter or a year. We've got several games that are getting delayed because they just need the time. In Dying Light's case, because they don't exist. I got a question. Let's get real and candid about one of our favorite jokes on this damn podcast.
Oh boy.
Alright.
Why the
Oh.
fuck has Metroid Prime Trilogy actually been delayed as many times as it
Oh,
has? Because
because
never been
Metroid-
announced,
Easy, Metroid Prime 4.
but we
Yeah,
know
yeah,
that it
yeah.
exists.
Yeah,
Is
Metroid
it-
Prime 4 got delayed, and Metroid Prime Trilogy is being held for a 6 to 8 month period beforehand to be released to drive up engagement and interest leading up to the launch of 4.
Hey
So-
man,
That's
I'm from the region that kept Dr. Karashima's Devilish Brain Training 5 years on the shelves for 3DS.
So here's the truth of what happened with Metroid Prime Trilogy. Back at the Game Awards in 2018.
Let's unmeme this shit.
Back at Game Awards in 2018, it was supposed to be revealed.
Mhm.
That's when it was initially supposed to be revealed. Of course, before that, we didn't know it at the time, but Metroid Prime development on Metroid Prime 4 had been restarted.
for the second time.
Yeah, essentially, they had restarted it. The goal was to release Metroid Prime Trilogy in 2019 as a lead up to generate excitement for Metroid Prime 4. Of course, that didn't happen because Metroid Prime 4 got fucking delayed into oblivion.
Yeah, Prime 4 won't be
So-
until 2021 at the earliest, probably.
Prime Trilogy has been literally completed and sitting on a shelf for what, Don, would you say 2 years? Like a year and a half? Like, it's been done for a
Something like
while.
that.
I've heard
Yeah.
a lot of
It-
games at Nintendo, a lot of remasters and
Oh,
re-releases are basically
They
shelved.
are
They're just on a shelf.
because I mentioned earlier, they need to port everything from Nintendoware, and they've been doing that game by game basis.
Yeah.
I think Metroid Prime Trilogy was one of the first to be ported.
Yeah, no, like it's done. Like, they could release it right now if they wanted to on Switch. Like, it's ready to go.
I wonder how the Japan situation will be, because here's a fun fact: Japan never got Metroid Prime Trilogy
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
funny.
because they released them separately as new Play Control versions.
Yeah. That's right. Same happened in Europe, right? Well, you all got the
No,
trilogy
we
as
got- we
well,
got
but
Trilogy, we got Trilogy.
you got the trilogy, but you got the new Play Control versions first, right?
No, we
No?
got also Trilogy.
Okay, because I think in the
But I have the
US,
Japanese versions like this.
Look at the Japanese
Yeah.
box art too.
That's
Like, oh,
because I think in the US we never got the new Play Control versions. We had to wait all the way till trilogy got released, right?
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
funny part is about that too is that Japan kept Metroid Prime 2's multiplayer in the Wii version.
Oh yeah.
I also want to address.
never played
I want
that.
to. So here's the deal. Like all in chat, all
John-
memes aside, all
okay.
jokes aside, I do think Prime Trilogy gets announced at some point this year. I think it's time.
Yeah.
Because I think Prime 4 is probably a winter 2021 game.
I think 2021, maybe not winter, but dude,
Yeah,
I'll say
all
2021 at
laughed
the
out.
earliest. I mean, it's not coming
Yeah.
out this year, but next year's
No.
possible.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
I think Metroid Prime Trilogy gets announced this year, maybe at E3 for like a December release, Anthony, on Switch. Like, I don't think it's coming out like this summer or anything, but
We do not have a very clear idea of what Nintendo's fall is going to look like.
I think
For
it's
the
gonna be Mario
first
Kart
time.
9.
I don't know.
No.
You also think
So-
that a new
You know what,
mainline
I
Mario
know
is
money
coming
on
out before
budget.
Breath of the Wild 2,
like-
and that's not happening.
No, Breath of the Wild 2 is not happening this year.
no, it's definitely not.
You think not?
Nope.
Okay. Well, we're
No.
not getting a new mainline Mario either. That's for damn sure.
Nope, 3D World.
No, well,
gonna
that's
be a
not a
3D
new
World port.
main. That's a port. That's
Yeah,
like
it's
arguing.
gonna be a
Well,
3D world port.
here's the thing. This year is the 35th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's a good
Um,
year.
Yeah.
yeah.
and Super Mario
And the only
Brothers
two
2
things that I've heard is a port of 3D World and Super Mario All Stars on Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah. See,
And here's
I,
the thing. The
call.
Mario Kart team, that team has been working on something. I don't know what it is.
Yes, Mario Kart Tour.
Yeah.
No, they
Also-
have been working on and if you look at the time, if you look at the traditional space of time between Mario Kart releases, this is the year.
I don't think that Nintendo
Like-
works that way specifically. They don't have like a Mario Kart team. It's SPD like 1 and 2 and 3, but it's a little less decentralized than that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Don. You'd probably know better.
It's one SPD. I think it's two. They
Yeah.
worked on before this. They worked simultaneously on ARMS and Mario Kart 8
Yeah.
Deluxe. So it's very well possible they are working currently on something.
But like it's more like a mega team that works on a couple projects at once, rather than like what does the Mario Kart team do when they're not doing a Mario Kart? They sit around.
Yes.
Like, no.
They are. Every team is like this. Like
Yeah.
the same team does Animal Crossing and Splatoon. Well, with Animal Crossing, they get more help.
So here's what I think is going to happen with Nintendo this year, and then I want to kick it to Anthony because I know he was trying to get onto this. We know, so like, Don and I are both in total agreement that Breath of the Wild 2 is not coming this year.
No.
Mario Odyssey 2, which I believe is in development, is not coming this year because we're getting a 3D world port. It's going to happen. Animal Crossing is their big spring game. Animal Crossing is their big early part of the year release.
And we know we're not getting a Pokemon this year.
We're not
we
getting
know
a
we're not
Pokemon
getting a
this
mainline
year.
Pokemon.
We're not getting a mainline Pokemon. They need something to fill the fallout. Nothing on Nintendo. Other than the only thing that sells close to Pokemon is Mario Kart. Mario Kart sells like a motherfucker.
But
It
that's
is
the problem, John. 8 is selling too well.
Yeah. They're not going to cut 8's legs out.
No incentive.
No, but I'm not. But Anthony, here's the thing. I don't think it's just going to be. I think it's.
You think it's going to be
Kart.
Smash Kart? No, it
I think
doesn't
it's
matter.
going to be Smash Kart. I think you're going to see
Doesn't matter.
characters like Samus and fucking like ice climbers and fucking like. I think you are going to see the stable of Nintendo characters follow the Smash Ultimate mod.
I will say I think you are on to something insofar as
That'll be the next version of Mario Kart. It just ain't coming anytime
not even
soon.
that. I think that this fall, I think that there's a very good likelihood that they have a window to introduce a new sort of accessible party atmosphere IP.
You don't think think it's too risky though? Like a new IP in the
Like in the same like vein as an ARMS or a Splatoon, something that is playful. You know,
could Splatoon 3 fill the gap then?
I
Like
think Splatoon 3 is
too
coming
soon, I feel
no, because
like.
that team is currently working on Animal Crossing, so
Yeah.
no, definitely
no.
not.
We'll see, like, you know, something. Lena saying F-Zero.
I mean, the only thing I can
would
think
love
of that is outside the realm of anything else is either Super Mario Party 2
yeah,
I could see that.
or a follow-up to the other games that Anycube has made, so the Wii Party, so maybe a Switch Party.
Yeah.
so
Something like
so
Because
here's another.
they get a lot more reins, it seems, with their own party games than with Mario Party.
yeah.
And let them do more interesting ideas with the Joy-Con and maybe a few more interesting party modes. Like if you remember Wii Party U, it had this Simon Says where you could put 4 Wii remotes and a gamepad on there. It was really well made.
So what you're saying is we need a 3-4 switch.
Yeah.
No, we don't. We really fucking don't. Finn.
I
We
have-
really don't need that.
I have a theory. Not that this is a
the next generation milking.
Yeah. Not that
Everybody
this is a
can milk together.
blockbuster suggestion that this is the big holiday game or anything. And I don't know how I've managed to avoid becoming like John memes with Metroid Prime Trilogy, but if Pikmin 3, we basically know that Pikmin 3 is getting its port.
It's gonna get its port this year. 100%.
Relatively
Pikmin
soon.
3 Deluxe.
Is
Yeah, no, we know that.
we
100%.
know that.
Yeah, it's pretty hefty rumor, to be honest.
Yeah. We know. But if 3 is finally getting its remaster released, so I mean 4 is finally gonna finally be done with its like 9-year development cycle.
9-year development cycle.
Whatever it's been in.
Miyamoto's got to get those. The whole time it's just been Miyamoto deciding whether or not.
He's deciding whether or not your mic is gonna work, because
How about now? Is that better?
that's working. Yeah.
Sultry.
What do you think? Is
I just realized, like, this is also okay. So we're 7 years out from the release of Pikmin 3.
Yeah.
Pikmin 3 was first teased at E3 2008 after that disastrous presentation.
Oh,
where
I
it was
fucking
like
remember that.
music.
Yeah.
So they were like, "We're making another Pikmin," and then it didn't come out for 5 years.
Also, they showcased that image of Twilight Princess, the first teaser image, and everybody leaked it online.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I let me put it this way. I remember it was 2015, I want to say. It was either late
Skyward
2014
Sword.
or it was 2015 that Nintendo, or that Miyamoto himself said that Pikmin 4 was
Yeah.
nearing completion. And it's been a lot of years since then, and I really I am choosing to believe that was not Hey Pikmin.
So
Oh yeah. Yeah, that
Hey,
game's
Pikmin
not
was a good
good.
game though. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, but
honestly.
it's not Pikmin 4.
It's the only good game that developer has ever made.
I
What else did they
liked
do?
They did that,
Yoshi's Island DS.
they did
Oh,
Yoshi's
yeah.
Island DS. Didn't they also do the Chibi Robo platformer?
Chibi Robo.
Yeah, Siplash. Yes, they did Siplash.
Ziplash is okay.
So we stand by Don's statement.
So
So
once
here's-
again, the only good game they ever made is Hey Pikmin.
Yeah.
So I've got another hot Nintendo prediction to drop.
We got
Okay.
some hot non-Nintendo predictions because they're monopolizing this section.
So I just want to see what you guys think about this. Right, two quick ones. One, we're getting a 2D Metroid this year.
Again, that's a
Um,
thing we've heard, so that's not.
We've heard it, but I think there's too much smoke around that fire not to be true.
Yeah.
And I think Mercury Steam is probably developing. And I also think we are going to get the return of a long dormant Nintendo franchise, and it's either going to be Star Fox, it's going to be Punch Out, or
Yes, the long
or-
dormant Nintendo franchise that was
Yeah,
in Starlink a few years ago.
or that's not Star Fox, or Paper Mario.
Y'all, it's time. Well, again, Paper Mario is a thing we've
Paper
already
Mario
heard.
is also not dormant. It came out in 2016.
Yeah. And it's a
Yeah,
thing.
but I'm talking about a true Paper Mario game.
We've
not
also,
fucking Color
again,
Okay,
already
hold
been
up,
hearing
John,
about that.
hold
Color
up, John.
Splash is not a true
Hold up.
Paper Mario game.
Hold up, John. I agree
No
that it will
true
be great.
Scotsman would.
But here's the thing. You could say, oh, the writing was already good in Color Splash. You're obviously going to bring that over in the music and the visuals. But here's my number one problem with that. If even going back to form, they wouldn't have interesting characters or partners because Miyamoto is forcing regular Nintendo characters really down their throat right now.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing. If you could
It's
have
not
Wario,
gonna
or
be the
If you could
same.
have Wario and
It's not
Waluigi
gonna
and
be-
Birdo as partners, that would be hilarious, though. That would be great. I could be down for that.
Yeah, but it kind of goes
They're
against the
not
idea what
proud
they're
enough to
trying
do
to
that.
do
Paper
with
Mario,
Paper Mario.
plus Rabbids. Get on the fucking train, boys. It's happening. Here we go. It's fucking time. That's the next big crossover. Paper Mario plus Rabbids.
Finn, save me
It's
from
gonna be Paper
John's
Mario,
hell.
Paper Mario cardboard Rabbids. Fucking lock it in.
Save me
That-
from
that's a
John's
big
hell.
holiday
Hit me
game.
with some good predictions. Company,
But-
country, whatever.
Question is, I want a Rabbids 2. Kingdom Battle was so good.
It was so
Yeah.
fucking good, dude.
My prediction is they kind of like how Axiom Verge came out and then Nintendo realized people did like Metroid. Sometimes an indie game just has to come out to remind the big boys that they have an IP that has some value. So fingers crossed we get an Advance Wars one day.
Ooh.
Not gonna
You know
happen.
what? Advance
No.
Wars? I think so.
John?
Advance Wars and Battalion Wars, both those could come back, and I would be very happy.
I would be happy too, but dude, Fire Emblem is too big now. They're not. No. I would love it. I'd like if they gave it to the War Groove devs, great.
No,
but that's not going to
that's
happen.
The thing is that because Fire Emblem is so big now, it's proved to Nintendo that there is a massive audience for these strategy.
There's a
Yeah,
massive
they've
audience
also-
for
Here's the
Fire
difference.
Emblem.
Fire
Yes.
Emblem there's a big difference between Fire Emblem
Right.
and
I gotta hope
Advance
that we
Wars.
can parlay that to be like it's like the same gameplay. So this is now they found success with Fire Emblem, they found success with Mario and Rabbids. So clearly that genre of game has success on the Switch. I'm just saying, make Advance Wars, make it anime weeaboo shit, like bring in the Fire Emblem.
But then you would just make another Fire Emblem. Here's the
I'm
thing.
with-
Here's the thing. Fire Emblem and Kingdom Battle thrive because they have characters that you can relate to or have funny interactions with. Advance Wars is solely focused on war and mindless little pawns that you put on a map. I don't think that would fly comparison to those two.
I think I'm actually with Finn on this, in that I don't think it's likely necessarily, but I don't think it's really impossible or that crazy either. So the Fire Emblem Intelligent Systems has been pumping out content. I mean, you got to consider that in the last couple releases, like since Awakening, we got Fates, which was 2.5 games. They put out Echoes, which was a pretty hefty attempt at a remake of
Yes,
an older
they
Fire
did
Emblem
a really
game.
good job.
Shadows
and
of
then-
Valencia too, right?
Yeah, and then
Like-
No,
yeah,
it's
well,
Shadows of
that's
Valencia.
Echoes. And then
Oh, right, okay.
yeah, and then Three Houses is massive. I
Three
mean,
Houses was
VM
not developed by Intelligent Systems.
was it not Intelligent Systems?
developed
Really?
by,
No. No, only the story people and the franchise holders were involved with Three Houses and the
Well,
credits.
there we fucking go. Like,
Because they have been working on Paper Mario.
oh, okay. But like, here's the thing: like, Nintendo can find studios to do Advance Wars, Intelligent Systems, or the people who worked on three. Like, there's room to find people to work on Advance Wars, and I think Advance Wars
Sure.
generals can be reworked, more heavily integrated into combat, given more personality, given more off-combat stuff to do. Like, there's nothing that says Advance Wars has to just be Black Hole Rising over and over again. You know, we don't just have to do Dual Strike, Days of Ruin, like, stick to the format and never change it. Fire Emblem's reinvented itself a lot. You can do the same thing with Advance Wars. And even if you do it as like an online, like an eShop title, like a $30 eShop title, and don't scale it to be
Right.
something as big as Fire Emblem, you can put a team on that. It can definitely happen. I mean, Wargroove and Tiny Metal. Wargroove did really well. Tiny Metal, I didn't hear much about, but people seem to
wasn't
like
great.
it enough. Not really.
The sequel to Tiny Metal is really good though. Full Metal Rumble is honestly amazing.
Yeah.
It's
So
fu-
like,
It's only just $10 too. It's a
Yeah.
really good game.
I think
a
it's-
really
I will
Yeah.
gladly accept Golden Sun.
yeah.
Golden Sun is even more dead. Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
you can forget that. That
That's
ain't
really
never
right.
coming.
Camelot is a shell of its former self. You
Yeah.
really want a Golden Sun out of that?
I wouldn't say I would say that you're far likely to get a Mario Golf than you are a Golden Sun.
Folks,
Yeah.
Kirby's Air Ride 2 this holiday
Okay.
season. It's the big holiday game.
All right, you're not. I was just about to say this, and Don, you will back me up on this.
Sure.
Now, after all of this conversation, I think a very likely selection for this fall is a new Kirby game that's one of the weird Kirby games. Because
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
Yeah.
cycle? They
Yeah.
go
I can see
Yeah.
that.
traditional Kirby, then weird as fuck Kirby. Every 2 years. Traditional Kirby, weird as fuck Kirby. Traditional Kirby, it's Mass Attack, it's Rainbow
Rainbow
Rainbow Curse.
Rainbow Curse, thank you. Yeah, I think a weird as shit multiplayer Kirby.
They kind of need a weird Kirby though because the last one was way too traditional. I felt.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
here's the thing though. Am I the only weirdo asshole here?
Yes.
I think you just said, I didn't hear what you said, but it almost looked from reading your lips like you said you don't like Kirby games, and that's not what I want to fucking hear from you right now,
No,
John.
I fucking love Kirby
Okay,
games.
good.
No,
I was
what
about
asked was,
to teleport to Virginia
Like Planet
and get
Robobot
my
was
ass
one of my
kicked by
favorite
you.
games of this generation.
Planet Robobot is the best Kirby game, and I
Oh,
don't
by
think
fucking
that's
far.
about it.
Like
Yeah.
that's not even a question. But I really like Star Allies. Like I really did.
Star Allies was really good. It's just it
Star
didn't have a
Star
whole lot of
Allies.
extra going for it. The core was really good, but there wasn't a lot. of
Super
extra.
Kirby Clash is actually really Kirby Clash is really good actually.
Here's the
Have you
thing.
guys
I
played
didn't.
Star
Fi- I-
Allies, like
Yeah, but-
recently?
Hmm?
Because Star Allies got updated like 70
Yeah,
It
times.
did, and
And
it yeah.
it's amazing
Yeah.
now.
Here's the thing.
good.
I like the updates more than the actual main game.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Because
it's so good.
because it was so multiplayer focused, that even with like CPU allies, they felt something lacking in that department.
Yeah.
Big time. Big time. It was like
Guys.
crappy Return to Dreamland.
Custom
Yeah.
Robo coming back. It's happening. It's happening.
Return
Custom
to-
Robo, the big holiday 2020 Nintendo game.
Cubivore 2.
Universe 2.
I wanted to address something real quick that Sam had asked in chat earlier.
Y'all ready for Rub
Um,
Rabbits?
Something that he
Oh.
had said. He said that he really said, God, I need Twilight Princess or Wind Waker HD on Switch. Guarantee you, since Breath of the Wild 2 isn't coming this year, you're gonna get one of them. I don't know which one it'll be,
Or
but you're gonna
both.
both.
you'll get both, but you're gonna get one of them. I guarantee it.
Que no los dos.
Because their goal, Don, correct me if I'm wrong, is to have a Zelda game out every year.
Yeah, the goal is to every year have something with Pokemon, Mario, and Zelda on the cover,
Yeah.
You know what?
and that has been the strategy since 2010.
If there was this is another like candidate for this year, is I would not be surprised if we got another Let's Go in the Pokemon franchise.
No, their focus is on the DLC. That's their game because
Yeah,
it
you
used to
think
be
that's still-
the third game, but now
Yeah.
they're just making it into the DLC.
Y'all,
That makes
Magical Star Sign 2.
Oh shit!
Finn.
Oh,
Brownie Brown out of
No,
retirement.
motherfucker, it is time. It is time for Vroom in the Night
You
Sky
better give,
2.
no, you better give
I'm
Finn.
ready for it. I'm
it's
ready
time for
Vroom in the Night Sky 2.
Basketball 2.
Bassrit 2. Fucking Bassrit Ball Jam. I
John,
want Bassrit
if
Ball
you don't
Jam.
let Finn talk, I'm going to teleport to Virginia and get my ass kicked a second time.
Finn, did you have your hand up? Go ahead,
No,
buddy.
no, no. If as long as I'm already just throwing my cards into every game that I will never get, Bot and Kaitos, bring it back, baby.
Yes!
Come on.
Dude,
Yeah,
just-
baby!
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
there! You got it!
Yeah. They're
Is-
too busy they're remaking Xenoblade 1 again. So they're
To be fair, they're adding the older cut content from the Wii version.
Yeah,
Because there
I'm
was there
about
was a cut
Xenoblade
area.
Definitive. Because
There was a
Xenoblade,
cut-
hot take, Xenoblade Definitive might be the only actual competent Xenoblade game. I love X, but
Torna is also really
see, I
good.
didn't play Golden Torna because I hated 2, so.
I had such
I
mixed
love-
feelings on
No,
2.
but Torna was way better than any other Xenoblade game. Torna was actually a good character development, was very brisk, and
thought
was
Xenoblade
really
1
well to
did
play.
well.
it's really good. Torna
Just-
great
But,
kicked in.
but 1 is also really good.
The UI in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is just so garish and just like painful to look at. Like it
The-
was,
the-
oh.
Once again, they stripped all of that down to the basic mechanics in Torna, and
No,
they
I
actually
love
allow
Torna,
you.
yeah.
Torna is great. But with 1, they're actually adding all the cut content from the Wii version, so there was a cut area in the original game that you couldn't access, and they added with the final shot of the cut content in the first trailer.
I just
Hey.
hope Xenoblade Chronicles Remaster looks better handheld than Xenoblade Chronicles 2 does. Because
Given
holy shit.
given how big Xenoblade
yeah.
2 was for Nintendo, like I also wouldn't be surprised if Xenoblade Definitive Edition ends up being like one of their bigger holiday games. You know?
Maybe.
Gangbusters,
I could easily see this as a May game.
Yeah.
I mean that too. We don't
Yeah.
know. That's the thing. Nintendo. We don't hear about Nintendo delays anymore because Nintendo just doesn't give us release dates until they're like 2 months
Yeah.
out.
Yep. So I guess we should probably start to wrap up here. We're already past our time mark here, and I do want to get in a little before I go to bed because that game fucking slaps. Fucking,
yeah.
it's a Persona game without its head up its own, and I really like. I love Persona, but this is Shin Megami Tensei without a shitload of filler. It's just pure SMT, and I fucking love it. I love it.
And still the end of the world plot that we all know and love from
Yep,
other
I love it.
SMT games.
I fucking love this game. It's one of those ones I missed on Wii U.
It's a great
want-
game, yeah.
I want to point out. I want to let everybody know if you are going to PAX East. So obviously we've already said that we have the first ever SDGC panel. Not that we're on a panel. It's an SDGC presents panel.
And
It's an
Finn and
SDGC
John are
panel.
presenting it.
Finn and John, I'm John, are presenting it. I'm moderating it. Finn is on the panel. We're going to be ranking the Final Fantasy spin-offs. We're going to be ranking the spin-offs, right? But that night, after the panel, Derek, I think is when we're talking about doing our SDGC PAX meetup.
Yeah, no idea what that's gonna count as. We've had
Who
zero
fucking
discussions, but
knows?
we'll.
Who fucking knows? But we're probably going to gather right after the panel, Derek,
Yeah,
and just
in a public
fucking
place, it'd be a nuisance.
go somewhere and drink and get rowdy.
We're not gonna
and-
fit
and-
into any bars. That's not gonna happen.
Nope. But I do know that we've got a sizable amount of sakis who are going to PAX East and gonna attend our panel. And if you want to hang out with us, if you want to chill out with us, we would love for you to join us after the panel. Fucking doing whatever we're gonna do for the first ever SDGC PAX fan meetup. I can't fucking believe we're actually at a place where I can say that. Finn, go ahead.
This is a surprise. This is a world premiere announcement that not even John knows.
SDGC world premiere.
To celebrate our first panel and our first meetup ever, all socks come in pairs. The sister / brother sock, your call, of the OG Saki will be at PAX East to be given to one of our fans.
Oh.
Oh.
Like
The
same
method-
color scheme, Finn? Like same stripes? Like
It's
same
the sibling
Stop
of
coming
Saki
here.
1.
Wait, why the fuck do I not have it?
Finn, does it have a goatee? Is it evil sake?
Oh, you know what?
Goatee.
All I know is that
Saki's twin is named Moloch.
Saki's trying to look. Let me tell you, Saki herself has already been building other sons of Saki, so we're gonna have a hefty amount. But the OG partner of the original Saki will be in attendance. So, just saying.
That's a game changer. That's a game
Just
changer
saying.
right there.
By the way, about your panel, I hope that Final Fantasy All the Bravest will be the last one on your list.
So I'm gonna make sure that All the Bravest is actually number one.
Are we gonna rate?
Just to-
Are we gonna rate Final Fantasy Chocobos
Wait,
Racing?
Are you saying all the bravest or all the greatest? Because that's what all the bravest is.
So like I'll tell you right now, Dark Horse right now, like I don't know what's gonna win. I don't know what's gonna win. But I think Anthony will agree with me when I say that the Dark Horse choice is Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon, everybody.
Oh,
That game fucking rules, dude. I'm sorry.
Nice.
That game fucking rules.
My favorite Final Fantasy spin-off is Stay Rhythm Final Fantasy Curtain Call.
It's a good
Oh,
choice. That's
Curtain
actually a
Call
good
fucking
choice.
is awesome. Yeah, I love
My choice. That's the one I'm pushing.
I still
Hell
pull out my
yeah.
3DS. I still pull out my 3DS like every month to play Curtain Call. I really do.
Get a rhythm, curtain.
Now, but like the real discussion is, do the Bravely Default games make the list?
No.
Because they, I mean,
They're
dude,
not,
like,
no.
I mean, dude, they even have the same magic spells.
Or-
Faraga,
Doesn't matter.
Lizaga.
For Warriors of Light
Light
counts, Bravely
counts.
does not. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, we got to make those decisions when we have our meeting about that panel. That is not for right now. Right now, it is past our Betty bye time.
Is it time to go? Is it time to go
It's time to
bed?
go bed. It's time to
Is
go
it
the
time to
fuck
go
to
bed?
sleep.
Time to go bed.
Go the fuck to sleep.
It's 4:30 a.m. here, so yeah.
Yeah, it's
like-
time
God,
for you
Jesus
to wake
Christ,
the fuck up.
Time for Don to. We're going to bed, and Don's gonna wake the fuck up.
Yeah.
Get your ass out of bed, Don.
Pour some good
Yeah.
coffee.
Pour some
But here's the
coffee.
fun thing. It's the last thing I will mention. Tomorrow, I have to go to a Hatsune Miku concert for work.
Is it tomorrow or
Oh,
today?
Well, today, yeah. at 8 p.m., I have to go for that Switch game and then watch a concert for 2 hours.
You better get some fucking sleep there, Don.
God, that's awesome. That's a great day.
That's going to be very interesting.
All right. Well,
Just
we
start
will.
screaming, why doesn't she look like the Tetsuya Nomura redesign?
Bullshit.
All right. Well, Anthony, Don, thank you so much for being in here and shooting the shit with us, guys. We love you both, and it was just it was a great little. I think it was a great little treat to have both of you on. That
no.
was and of course, Anthony, it's just been
Yeah.
Dude,
like-
I looked down at my phone. It's like you have a missed call. Who's calling me?
I literally tried calling you. I was like, let me call Anthony. No, I'm sorry. As he is listed in my phone, let me call fucking Anthony and see if he's. That's literally how Anthony's listed on my phone is. He's fucking Anthony. Finn, if you dab one more time, fucking time, I'm gonna fire you from the show. I'm gonna fire you from the show. Jesus Christ. Okay, look, check it out. It's not always poetry. We would always agree, but always keep it real. Goodbye. Good night. There, kill it.
Can't
Derek, kill
believe
it.
Don is gonna go meet the creator of Minecraft.